Ew, I just sounded like the, back at it again. You know what I mean? Like the hard B. Anyways. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name's Cassidy. If you're new here, thanks so much for clicking on this video and watching. And if you're not new here, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm so excited for this video. It's my November TBR. I've been reading quite a lot lately, and so I don't know if this TBR is ambitious or not ambitious enough, but I don't know if I'm going to get through all these books, or like maybe I will, but actually no, because some of these books are some big things. Let's just get into it. The first book on my TBR is actually my current read. I'm about 145 pages in, but there's still a lot of book to be read, so I feel like I can include this on my TBR. It's The Deal by Elle Kennedy, and it's the first book in the Off-Campus series, and I actually mentioned this in my previous, 2 videos ago. I got this when I went book shopping with my friend, and I thought the cover was absolutely disgusting, and I still stand by that disgusting cover, but so far it's really good. Let me tell you what it's about first, and then I'll tell you a little bit about what I think, but I don't think I want to tell you too much because maybe I'll do a November wrap up and I'll include what I'm thinking in that. But it's basically about this girl, Hannah Wells. She is in college, and she ends up tutoring this hockey player. So the whole series follows, it's like a sports romance, and it's set in college, and so it's a bunch of sports guys and their relationships with these girls in college. She ends up tutoring Garrett Graham. Funny thing, because my last name is Graham. Anyways, and she ends up tutoring him because she is interested in this guy who is a football player, and Garrett plays ice hockey. He's like, you know what, I'll help you get with him and we can make him jealous together if you tutor me for this midterm exam that I failed, because she got a really good grade on it. And she's like, okay, fine, because she really wants to go on a date with this other guy, Justin. And so she starts tutoring him, and they start falling for each other, and it's basically they're not even enemies, but I guess they are friends, so maybe friends to lovers. And so far it is really good. Some things are a little bit cringy just in the writing, and I don't necessarily think that people would actually say the things that the characters are saying, but I'm really enjoying it so far. I've never read any books by Elle Kennedy, but I've seen a lot of good things about the Off-Campus series. That's really why I decided to pick it up. I guess that's really all I want to say about it. Maybe I'll just talk about it more in probably the November wrap-up. The next book I'm so excited for, it's Losing You by Kristen Marzullo. This is an arc, actually. This is the first arc I was sent. It's so exciting that I was even sent an arc, because I remember watching YouTubers and booktubers who were sent arcs, and I just thought that's so cool. But this is the first one I've been sent, and I cannot wait. So it's actually the sequel to Kristen's first book, Remember Me. You should definitely read this book first, and you can find it on Amazon. You can find it for your Kindle. I believe it's free, I want to say, for your Kindle. So go check it out. This book hasn't come out yet. It comes out in December. So read this first and get ready for this book. I feel it's important to talk about this book and what this book's about before I talk about the newest book, because it really won't make sense unless you've read this book. Remember Me follows Mia, who is an advice columnist in New York City, and she has a boyfriend, Ethan, who, everything seems fine, but there's just a little bit something missing. She ends up going home after not going home for a while for her brother Todd's wedding, and she tells her boyfriend Ethan that she's going to go alone, but she responds with a +1, but doesn't tell him that. And so when she goes home, there's kind of a lot of these like terrible memories that surface, and a lot of things that are going unsaid and that her family isn't really talking about. And I don't want to give anything away because you kind of like learn what that is as you're reading. But really terrible thing happened in her family and no one wants to talk about it. And so that's kind of why she hasn't gone home in a while. But so when she goes home, she runs into her ex-boyfriend Jake and ends up taking him to the wedding. And so it's the story of Mia and Jake and their relationship, but also her really debating like what she thinks about Ethan and if he's right for her. It's just a really beautiful book about grief and about leaning on someone when you need them the most, and I just think it's really, really good. Losing You takes place after Remember Me left off and follows Jake and Mia now in a relationship together, and Mia in her new advice columnist role, and just kind of where she is in life now and reflecting back on the past 2 years in her life and thinking, is she a fraud? Is she even meant to be in this place in her life? And just kind of, can she learn to accept that the pain that she's kind of gone through, there's a way out of it and that she deserves that way out. And so I'm really excited for this book, and I will definitely update you when I finish it in my wrap up what I thought of this book. But you should definitely read Remember Me first, so that you can be prepared for when this book comes out. The next book I want to read is All Her Little Secrets by Wanda M. Morris, and I also talked about this book a little bit in the same video where I bought the first off-campus series book. I was really in the mood for thrillers, and I picked this book up at a cute little independent bookstore near me. This book follows Ellis, who is having a relationship with her boss, and as it turns out, she goes into work one day and her boss is shot in the head, and he's very clearly, obviously, dead. And she does nothing about it. She walks by, she sees it, and she keeps walking. And she decides she wants nothing to do with that. Ellis kind of has a dark past, and so she doesn't want to be involved in this. She doesn't want to be put in the spotlight, and she's also promoted to her boss's position after he dies. And so she has mixed feelings about his death. She's, happy on one hand that she's been promoted, but on the other hand, police are looking in to this case and kind of digging into her past, and she's just really worried. She's also discovering that things might not be as they seem at the office, and so she starts uncovering what happened to him. So I'm excited for this because I'm still feeling like November is giving spooky vibes like October did. The last 3 books I want to read, this is why it feels ambitious, because these, maybe I should turn them around, these are big books to read. I would really like to finish the Court of Thorns and Roses series, and I have 3 books left. The next book is A Court of Wings and Ruin, and then we have sort of a short little novella, A Court of Frost and Starlight, and then we have the last book, A Court of Silver Flames, and I have the Barnes & Noble edition, which just means that it's a black cover instead of, I think the original one is orange. I've talked about A Court of Thorns and Roses before. I'm obsessed with the series. Like, I love it. The first 2 books were so good, especially the second book, but there's just something so daunting about starting a book that's like 700 pages, but I feel like I just need to start reading it and then I'll be hooked, just like the other 2 books. I just need to actually get myself to start reading it, which is the problem. If you don't know what A Court of Thorns and Roses is about, the series, it follows Farah. I don't know if I'm saying that name right, but she is a human girl who accidentally kills a fae, kind of this like mystical, magical creature. She kills him because her family's really poor, and she needs to survive. So she kills this beast, and I think she thinks it's a wolf, and she kills it, and turns out it's a fae, and so they come after her and are like, you killed one of our kind, we need to take you. It follows her relationship with the person or being who captured her in the first place, and then also just her living in this brand new world. She can't ever go back and live in the human world. The first book is a Beauty and the Beast retelling pretty much, which a little bit weird but really good. I think it's done in a tasteful way. It's honestly really hard to talk about this series without giving everything away, because I can really only tell you what the first book is about, because if I tell you literally anything else, it'll be spoiled, and I don't want to spoil anything for you. But it's enemies to lovers. It's a romance, a fantasy romance, high fantasy romance, I would say. I was really nervous to read A Court of Thorns and Roses just because I'm usually not a fantasy person, but I think it's done in such a good way. I don't think the world building is anything crazy where it feels overwhelming for the reader to be put into this new world, unlike a lot of fantasies. So I think it's a really easy fantasy read, but also really good romance, and the characters are just so you hate them, and then you love them, and then you hate them again, and you love them again. I just think it's so good. The writing's really good, and I think you should read them. But this really isn't about me read this book. I don't know if I'm gonna get through these books. I really hope I do. Pray for me. Now that I'm looking at them, I still can't really tell. Is this a lot? I don't know. Do you think this is a lot or no? If these books were normal sizes, I would say no, it's not. It's not that bad. Will I get through all of these? I don't know, but I really hope I do. I hope you liked this video. Please subscribe. Like the video, comment. I love reading the comments. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next video.